And hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wartburg Infusion Entertainment Review. It's time for episode number 39. I'm your host, Thomas, aka Mr. Wartburg. Alongside me tonight is not my usual co host, Patrick, aka Mr. Fusion. Tonight, I'm joined by my best friend, Joey, aka Bottom Shelf Joe.
What up, ladies and gentlemen?
So, here for a rather short and sweet episode 39, Joey is going to be joining me to talk about Uncharted the movie, which we saw this past weekend. We're recording this episode on the 21st of February. It's a little Monday evening President's Day podcasting. We're going to talk about Uncharted the movie, and then I'm going to hop on the stream and play some Uncharted the game because I rediscovered my first playthrough from 2018 that I started and stopped because I've never finished the game. So I'm going to try to remember what the fuck is going on because I know I'm in chapter 10 and there's 22 chapters, so I'm like exactly halfway in the game.
Yeah.
And then I got to try to remember how to play the game and finish the game. That's going to be my plan for the rest of the month. So, of course, if you're listening on an audio service or you're over on the YouTube VOD, be sure to head over to twitch.tv/MrWartburg so you can watch these episodes as we record them live. After tonight, we're going to take a small break for about, it's going to do, 10 days maybe, and then we're going to talk The Batman,
Bro,
which
I'm
comes
excited
out
for
in
that
10
one.
days. I'm so fucking excited for that
Oh,
movie.
God.
Oh, my God. It's going to be incredible.
It's gonna be a nice different take on Batman.
I don't even know about different, just
Hopefully.
awesome take on Batman.
Well, yeah. More vengeful, seems like. From the trailers that we've seen.
Yeah, it looks fantastic, and mostly because Matt Reeves is one of my directors that's like, anything that dude does, I'm going to check out. So, Joey, it's been a long time since you've popped on a podcast, like we were saying in the pre-show before we even went live. You're actually in your new office space.
I am. Built it myself. It's been a hell of an undertaking, I'll be 1,000. Learned a lot about construction. How to properly set up stuff and drywalling, and how I love the whole process, everything up to painting.
I was going to say, this seems
I
pretty bare.
personally hate painting.
And I think,
There's
is your
about
wind properly trimmed?
no,
I was going to say, it
it's
doesn't look
not
like it's got any trim on there.
99% done. It's just I can't find a good trim for it, or cheaper trim I'm looking for, because wood price is a little more than I want to spend on it.
Oh, just do vinyl or something.
Just do you think I get vinyl flooring or vinyl?
No, I mean not vinyl.
Trim?
I meaning like PVC. It doesn't need to be wood.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be wood.
Gonna make it kind of nice looking, but I guess I never really looked at anything
Because if
else
you're gonna
except
paint it,
wood.
who cares?
Yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
probably won't paint it. I don't know. I gotta do something with it, but one has to be. What really sucks about this, Tom, I found out since I've done this, if I do resell my house, one of these two windows in this room has to be an egress window.
Well,
'Cause it's
that's
in the
if it's a.
basement.
Well, it doesn't have to be. Only if you sleep there.
Oh.
You only need it to be an egress if it's a sleeping space.
Okay, so maybe I can get away with it because I really don't want to cut into the wall I made. It makes me really sad.
Well, that's super cheap though. Drywall's not that expensive.
Yeah, but the repairing process takes a bit. That's
Yeah, but if you're gonna put an egress, that would be you contract that for somebody because you don't want to fuck that up.
I can do
No,
it.
I
It's
have
just
seen horror
it's
stories of people
scarier.
fucking that up. They get flood water in it everywhere and it ruins the wall. Like the
No,
whole wall is gone.
I guess I personally haven't cut into the cement and stuff like that, but
If you're
I've
doing
assembled the
egress,
outside part.
contract it.
Okay. I've done the outside part for landscaping. Made it look pretty and walkable up, but yeah. I've never done the cutting of the cement though. That'd be a whole new process.
Yeah, that'd be an undertaking. Speaking of undertakings, let's talk about a movie, huh? More specifically, though, we should talk about what we've been watching and playing, do our usual rigmarole. So, Joey, what have you been
Okay.
watching and playing up into the last week or two?
Actually finishing Legend of Vox Machina. It's
I
pretty
watched that this
freaking
weekend.
Good. I want to know your take on someone that never followed Critical Role. What is
not really for me. I mean, it's definitely
Okay.
it feels like a show that is trying to be, overarching and everyone can come in and watch it.
Mhm.
But there's a lot they don't explain. That it almost feels like it's made almost too niche.
Okay.
Because they don't really explain how people's powers work and stuff, and what the classes and how
Yeah.
things interact and how things were being played. The characters are a mishmash. You wouldn't expect certain things to mash up within this genre,
Mhm.
and that's not really built into the world, at least so far. But it's clearly well made. Like the animation's fantastic and
Okay,
all
yeah.
that. Like it's clearly a show that was made for its fans. It's trying to reach a broader audience, but I think comes up short.
Agree with that because it feels like there's not really like given like you said like they don't go into like why Scalen's got the magical powers he has, why well they kind of dive a little bit into Pike. Like Pike has like holy abilities, so she has to go to like a church to like figure her stuff out and stuff. But no, it's way off the beaten path. But that's mostly what I've been watching this week. What I've been playing a lot has been it's been a really good like couple weeks for me because Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duels dropped recently, and I've been grinding the crap out of that game. It's free to play, and they give you can create any deck you really want, and then just play it against other Yu-Gi-Oh decks. It's so much fucking fun. I love card games. Also I've been playing recently has dropped is Total War Warhammer 3, and that's just awesome. If anyone's familiar with like the old world from Warhammer, it's just I highly recommend it. And you most likely already are playing if you're familiar with like old fantasy Warhammer tabletop. It's it's a really good game, especially Total War. Total War in generals, I always like them. Never because like Tom, you've always been like a Civ guy, where I've
Yeah.
always been more of a Total War, and that's mostly like the closest thing I can think to a comparison would
Yeah,
be
it's their
a Civ like game.
RTSs, but of a different variety.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Same genre.
Yeah.
It's like technically Gears and Halo are both shooters, but they're very different.
Oh yeah, that's a really good
Technically.
drawback.
Yeah.
Draw through.
Like the big genre they fall under, but they have their
Mhm.
own specific sub niche.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
that's what's
yep.
good.
For me, again, like I said, I watched The Legend of Vox Machina, and it was all right. I wasn't like super into it. Some of the, characters I liked, but, it just wasn't for me. And that whole genre is kind of a mixed bag for me. Some things I really like, some things I don't. I mean, D&D just as a whole never really grabbed me. I don't know, just for whatever reason, never did. But so I gave it a shot. I've been watching. I'm trying to prep for the Batman, so I'm gonna watch some Matt Reeves movies. So this is not his movie, but I wanted to watch the first one to set up the next two, and that is uh, Rise of the. I watched Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which I'd never actually watched all the way. I'd seen bits and pieces of it, but I'd never seen the whole thing. And Dawn and War are two of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
Like Matt Reeves is incredible. And those movies fucking rule. So I wanted to watch those and like kind of prepare myself for the Batman coming next, like the following Friday. Which oh my god, we are definitely going. I might
Okay.
have to risk opening night for that movie because I don't want anything spoiled. My take is they're still going to be introducing the Court of Owls through the Riddler. That's my bet. Banking on it.
Oh, I just thought they were gonna do Riddler and stop. I
And
didn't think
like
they were gonna
Court of Owls will be
introduce.
the sequel, but like that's the setup. Is
Mm.
the Riddler is like a bad guy killing people, all this stuff, but he is trying to expose the Court of Owls.
Oh,
Yeah, that's my
that'd be a
bet.
fun thing.
So yeah, that's more or less what I've been up to for games. I haven't been really doing a whole lot this weekend because it was a lot of entertainment. Like I said, Legend of Vox Machina, Rise of Planet of the Apes, fuckload of phone calls today because I'm dealing with some absolute horseshit insurance stuff that I still haven't solved, and might be putting off me buying a house for an extra 2 years. Which that's great.
AIDS.
So to get away from the stuff I don't want to talk about, let's talk about some stuff I do want to talk about, which is the Uncharted movie, which we went and saw this past Sunday on a matinee, which I think is probably the best time for this kind
Mm.
of movie.
Yeah, that's pretty
Whereas
accurate.
it's close to being what it wants to be, but doesn't quite get there, which is that it wants to be like a National Treasure Indiana Jones, but doesn't quite get there. At least that were my basic thoughts on it. But Joey,
Yeah.
what'd you think of the movie? Like big picture, don't get too deep in the
Big
weeds because I
picture.
want to get through
Gotcha,
some
gotcha.
some stuff about the movie overall. But let's just
Okay.
start with our initial thoughts.
Um, I never compared it to National Treasure. I thought more of like Indiana Jones, but they try to like bring it to the 21st century aspect with I don't know technology and the way they used it, and
Well, I mean, it's based off the game,
yeah, which
which we're
for a
based
video
on, which
game,
we're riffing off Indiana Jones.
For a
100%.
video game for a video game movie, it's probably one of the best ones I've seen that I can recall. Because I mean, I looked up, was it like Tomb Raider, and then you have like I'm trying to think of some of the top of it. Sorry, there's like Tomb Raider, Mortal Kombat, and I was like, man, this one actually I feel like outplays them.
What about, say, like
Mm,
Sonic or Detective Pikachu?
I never watched any of them.
Okay. Well, I would say those are probably better in terms of capturing the actual tone of what they were going
I don't know.
for
Okay.
sure. Like I said, Uncharted gets close, but for me, misses. But that's where we're at on the big pictures of what we thought coming out of the movie. So the actual like movie is doing pretty well though. So it has a production budget of 120 million, which means probably figure 2.5 times that for the actual total budget, accounting for marketing. So you're talking 240 plus halves, like 300 million probably, give or take, for its actual like is it going to make money and then thus be greenlit for a sequel kind of money. So it made 44.1 million domestic and 88 million international thus far, which of course is more than its production budget.
Mm.
So, a few weekends of a decent tail on this movie, it's probably going to make its money back. Given its star power, of course, Tom Holland
Oh
continuing
god,
his
yeah.
absolute dominance at the box office, Wahlberg still being attached, and if they want to, and I'll get into some sequel stuff later, but there's the characters out there that they could introduce in the Uncharted franchise. I have a sneaking suspicion of who they might try to cast, and it would make them a lot of money. But we'll get to that in the future. And I don't even know if this person would say yes, but it's like, man,
Okay.
it hit me. I was like, that'd be cool to see. It's his actual love interest who he ends up with, Nathan Drake. Uh,
Oh, all
the
right.
movie was directed by I think it's Ruben. I don't know if he says it Flesher or Fleischer, but he directed Zombieland. He directed
Oh.
Venom, and much like keeping this podcast, we're going to try to do it 30 minutes or less. That's what he directed. I mean, that was one of his first movies, was 30 minutes or less.
Now I get the reference. I was like, what the H?
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
why when we in the pre-show, I wrote down, "Ooh, I got to make a 30 minutes or less joke,"
All right, all right. I
which
was
is
like,
another one of those
what's
movies that I
happening here?
own, never watched.
Yeah.
I got it for Christmas and just
There-
never watched it.
Who's in 30 minutes or less?
It's God, I know it. You'd have to look it up. It was one of those like Pineapple Express kind of era movies,
Oh
super
shit,
cheap
those are
comedies.
pretty fucking
Yeah,
good vibes. Oh, what the heck? Oh my god, I'm gonna butcher his name. Jesse Ellsberg?
Jesse Eisenberg.
Eisenberg, thank you.
You say Ellsberg?
I did.
It's Eisenberg. You're wearing your glasses.
Sorry. Danny McBurn? Oh my god.
I mean
Brad, Jesus.
McBride? Jesus fucking Christ, Joey. We just end the podcast now? Good
Anyone else want
God.
burnt toast? I'm just gonna stop.
Oh my
It's
God,
actually
that
a
was
pretty good
awful.
class.
I'm 100% clipping that out for this for the
Sorry,
for the
I'm
Twitter, by
just
the
like,
way. 100%.
it did okay, it looks like.
Yeah, so it's a comedy movie
Alright, yeah.
that was one of the
Yeah,
first ones he
good, good,
directed. So I
sorry.
wanted to make the 30 minutes or less joke while Joey's gone all pixelation. Uh, so yeah, let's go dive a little deeper now into our basic, like what we thought of the movie thus far and what we hope to see, like maybe in a sequel. So for me,
Mm.
having someone I've never really played the games. Like I said, I've seen them be played. I know of what the franchise is. I know the type of game it is, and I'm gonna eventually play them. I know who the characters are. Like I said, I've watched some Let's Plays of it. So like I'm familiar with it, at least to an extent. Definitely more so than the average movie-going audience who doesn't know anything about video games. If as much money as they make, it's still way smaller than the massive movie-going audience, at least as it exists right now. I thought Holland's casting as a young Drake wasn't entirely off, especially if you're gonna do young Drake. In the games when we meet him, he's I don't remember the actual age he's given, but he's older, like I would say 30s in, vaguishly. Definitely not as young, or at least young as looking as Tom Holland is.
Yeah.
Of course, when we meet doing a young Tom Holland as young Nathan Drake means you can do like a Chloe Fraser who shows up, I think, in Uncharted 2, and there's a hint of like backstory and like she betrayed him and all that, which I thought they adapted that and made that a part of the narrative actually pretty well instead of leaving that this nebulous backstory thing. The sticking point for me though is Wahlberg's Sully. He just does not feel like crotchety old man partner that Sully is
It-
in the games that I've witnessed and played thus far. Like I said, I've played half of the first game,
yeah.
and it just felt odd. Like they don't. It didn't feel like there was a lot of chemistry there right up until the end. And then they get there, and I'm like, oh, if it had been this for 2 hours, I'd have had a way better time. But
That's what I was kind of thinking too, because like the beginning part, it almost felt forced in some areas. That makes sense.
yeah,
I, and then near the end, yeah, there's definitely like it felt smoother.
yeah.
Sorry.
I think part of it comes down to my issues with making everything an origin story anyway. I think
Mm,
Hollywood's got this obsession with telling everyone an origin story. We don't need that. In the first Indiana Jones, he just fucking shows up and is Indiana Jones.
yeah, it's already
You
got
know, like you got the
plethora
whip
backstory.
doing cool shit, figuring out puzzles, crazy cool shit happens, and he barely scrapes by the skin of his teeth. Boom, in 10 minutes, you know who Indiana Jones is, right?
Yeah,
We don't need a 2 hour origin story for, hey, this is how he got his gun holsters, and this is the story behind the ring, right?
yeah.
Like, we don't need that at all. It's
So,
serviceable. It's a well done origin story,
wait, that just hit me.
but
That's
it
how he got his gun holsters.
yeah in the games like he's wearing those holsters, and it's like
Yeah.
they make a moment of it in this at the end, and I'm like, this half of
Oh,
this movie does not need to exist. The other half could have been flashbacks in later movies.
oh,
You know what I mean?
I'm sorry.
Like,
That makes me puke now. I'm thinking about that. I'm like, oh
yeah.
God, why was that
And
necessary?
then here's the thing, making that moment only matters for
Mm.
the fans who know that's what he wears. It's not for the general audience.
I just thought they kind of like were not gonna go with gun holsters just for like a Hollywood take of some sort. I'm not for sure,
Like he
but
doesn't use
oh my,
guns kind of thing. Oh no,
yeah,
he
we're
does.
gonna go
Nathan
for like
Drake
a very
absolutely fucking murders
non-lethal.
people. Like just
Yeah, in the
utter
game,
devastation. He
totally
leaves
fucking
so many
does.
dead bodies in his wake.
Oh, that's. I'm sorry, but if you guys go out and see it, and now you'll pay attention to the. Oh, dude, it's a gross scene. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh, so
Yeah. That and like the main villain we get in the forefront of the beginning, Antonio Banderas, awesome. Perfect,
love it.
over the top, like that mustache twirling villain you want. And then where things go from there, not such a fan. Like that swerve didn't need to happen at all. Didn't need to exist.
It it was too much,
Yeah, it was
you
there's some
know.
simple stuff happening here that doesn't need to happen, but fine, we're seeing
Mhm.
it, whatever. Like it's
Yeah,
an origin story. But you don't have to go too crazy with the plot. Like we don't need all these betrayals and twists and turns. Like
God
get
no.
off, like just take a step back, keep things
Yeah,
simple. Give us Antonio Banderas at the end being an awesome dope fucking villain. That's all we needed. And if this
because
movie had continued that track of him going off as the villain, would have been incredible. You know, and you could have even gotten one of those awesome, like, this is why Nathan Drake is the good guy. He tells him off, like, no, it's not your gold. Like, this belongs to the world. You know what I mean? Like that kind of moment. We don't get that.
no,
You know,
just
like there's
final.
no this belongs in a museum moment kind of thing, which was a dope Indiana Jones moment.
Which I was kind of hoping they'd do that, but it
Yeah, like we don't,
definitely.
and Drake's not that kind of character. He's definitely more of the scoundrel type of character.
Yeah.
He's closer to say like early pre-redemption ish Han Solo kind of character.
Okay.
I mean, like he is in it for himself, right?
Yeah.
Um, at least to an extent. Like he's not overtly a bad guy, but he's definitely pilfering shit he should not be pilfering, right? Like there's that gray area, you know, where it's not like he's trying to protect everything, you know, like some iterations of Tomb Raider or Indiana
Um.
Jones himself.
Also, like, is he known for like a lot of drinking?
Well, I mean, I don't know about a lot, but it's like definitely a part of the character. I mean, it's also just
Okay.
normal. Like I don't drink, but that's not normal,
Yeah. I don't know. It
you
just
know?
felt like I would say a lot of drinking. That came off wrong, but just like
Well, the fact
almost
that he was a
forced.
bartender and stuff like that
Yeah.
also, again, doesn't add anything. Other
Yeah.
than, hey, this is set up for how he knows how to do cool shit with bottles when a fight scene happens. Like, We didn't
But
need that at
he could have
all.
just said, "I used to be a
Just
bartender," you
have
know,
him
and he's
do
like,
cool
"Oh,
shit.
all right."
Like have him do the bottle shit in the right before the fight scene. Don't have him do it half an hour earlier when we don't need it.
Well, when they're oh god, I think they're under the town in Spain,
Yeah, right
and
there
they're
with that,
kind of
which is a cool
behind that.
fight scene. I like that.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, like, they didn't need the beginning bar part. They could have showed him, like, quickly making drinks there, and then, like, we understand, like, okay, he's clearly done this before,
Yeah,
well trained.
right. Like that's about it. That I think kind of sums up the overall. Man, there's some cool like all right stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot that's just totally unnecessary, which is
Yeah.
why this kind of movie is perfect for a matinee.
Can we I just wanna kinda dabble on this clicked real quick. There's that scene when the stuff's coming out of the plane. I don't know why that was filmed that way. The spinning cameras, the
Well, that's a move. That's a moment ripped straight from the games. That's an Uncharted 3 moment, I think.
just the
Yeah.
way that was filmed, it bothered me. I don't know why. I was like, this camera's just flipping around a lot, and
Well,
it
it's
was.
it's supposed to
But I think
like
it's
be
from the
acting like
game.
it's stuck on a crate, which is tumbling.
I guess there's just better ways I think you could have done it, but way beside the point. That's the one part that bothered me when I was watching it. It kind of took me out. I'm like, God, it's kind of dizzy right now.
Yeah,
But
I could see that. What were there moments that you were like, yes, this is dope?
mm. um, when they're kind of like lifting the boats, might be a little bit. That's fine, whatever.
It's in the
But
trailers.
yeah, when they're lifting the boats up and out of the area, I just thought that was really cool. I like the way boats. I don't know, I like boats. Sorry,
It was a cool
and
fight. Like,
when
and
they
that
try to
was
take down
entirely original. It's not adapted from anything. But it was a cool, like, very cool sequence that again I dragged on a little long
yeah,
and was like almost exceedingly unrealistic in spots. It's already unrealistic anyway, but like
yeah.
there's moments where you're like, that's not how just basic physics work. Like basic like how helicopter rotors work.
Oh God,
You
no.
know, like then that's a bit much. It's a bit much movie for you need us to buy in this much. You're only getting us to buy in about that much, right? So, but it was a cool sequence overall. It was a pretty well done fight sequence with Holland and Wahlberg, and then of course when he gets up to the helicopter, it kind of becomes a two plane action kind of story,
Yeah.
which I liked there at the end. And then it just
Also,
kind of ends again, which is fine because it's going to be a continuing story. The post credit scene actually made me go, "Yes, I'm in," which is a more I think direct tie into the Uncharted One game, which was that called Drake's Fortune. Think it was Drake's Fortune,
boy.
which is like they mention this old Nazi map, and that's because they find this old like Nazi bunker and stuff like in South America, and then it gets involved into like the City of Gold, and it becomes a whole crazy thing. And if they do what the games did, then you start getting to that kind of Indiana Jones, like what's real? Was there some mystical stuff going on? Because like if I remember right, there were like these like zombie kind of creatures because of like
Okay.
some kind of like bacteria. So it was like given a scientific explanation, but it was played as like a, what's going on kind of experience,
Yeah,
which I
we're
really
hinting
appreciated.
around, hinting around like Nazi zombie. I get it. I get it.
Yeah. So we'll see if they actually continue that. I'm hoping they will because I actually really like Tom Holland. And who
Same.
knows, maybe another iteration will give Wahlberg a shot because he's actually pretty good in comedies. Like as a comedic actor, he's really good. Like Ted, the other guys, like
Oh my
Daddy's
goodness,
Home,
he's
when he plays that
amazing
kind
in
of
it.
like antagonistic character, but he's hilarious. He can do comedy. I'm not sure they knew what role to give Sully at this point in Nathan Drake's
Yeah,
life.
because they could redo Sully and make him more like that. I feel like
Plus, they're
more
going to be able
comedic
to actually
characters.
pull from direct source material if they adapt stories from the games,
Yeah.
as opposed to this one, which is a more or less original story
Mhm.
to kind of fill in some gaps from where we will see him later on. But again, comes back to I don't think we need an origin story.
No,
And
everything
characters
has
like
to be.
Nathan Drake don't need origin stories. Get flashbacks, hints of a deeper, darker backstory,
Yeah.
but you don't need to explain everything. It's kind of the issue I have right now with Star Wars. Everything is getting explained and tied together, and this is exactly how this piece ties to this piece, and it's like, stop being so up your own ass with your storytelling. And that's kind
It's-
of what this movie feels like. Not overall bad. I would actually say it's pretty decent.
No, because I definitely would watch it again.
Yeah.
Kind of feel to it.
You
Like
know,
it
it's one of
was
those, oh,
entertaining enough. Where I'm like, fuck yeah,
I'm
see it.
feeling a lazy Sunday noon. It's on Hulu. Fuck it, I'll turn that on.
Right, and just kind of chill for a bit. Shit.
Yeah, that's definitely that kind of movie. So that's more or less where I'm at with the movie. Any other thoughts you have on it?
No, nothing really comes screaming to my brain.
Yeah, without getting into really heavy spoiler talk, that's where I'm gonna leave it.
Okay.
Also, I think you've been way more quiet than me, but
Oh,
we'll see if I can fix it in post.
okay.
So yeah, we're probably gonna leave it here for that for episode number 39. Very short one. Mostly because I definitely want to get over episode 50 by the time we have our 2-year anniversary show,
There you
which
go.
is coming up in this September. I'm
Sure.
debating if it's going to be in Austin or not with Fusion. I'm hoping
Okay.
it can be. That would be dope.
Fingers crossed.
Actually have an in-person show. But we'll see if anything can happen there. If not, we'll do it remote, much like we did. Plus, I have some thoughts on doing a rather large panel for ranking the Dragon Age characters, like S
Oh,
tier, A,
snap.
B, C, D, right? With Crofteria, who I know is playing through Dragon Age right now. Jackie, who's a huge Dragon Age fan. And then probably, I'm thinking if I can get Chloe to say yes, that'd be dope. And that'd be a hell of a panel with the three of them, Fusion and myself. Oh my God. That'd be a real fun podcast for like a summer with nothing else going on kind of episode.
Yeah.
Maybe if I end up sneaking down to RTX, might be able to do it that way. We'll see what happens.
Beautiful.
Oh, so Joey, like I said, any other thing going on?
Me? Nothing. No, just on personal notes, working my golf swing right now. Been trying to
Well, I didn't
imitate.
mean like out in golf. I'm talking pop culture stuff, man. Come on, stay on topic.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've been watching a lot of John Daly videos recently, trying to
That's not what I
get that
mean.
buttery smooth swing. No, pop culture really. I've got nothing really related. Sorry.
Okay,
Not too excited.
fine. That's where we're gonna leave the episode. Thanks everyone for listening on any audio services or over on YouTube. Remember, you can head over to twitch.tv/MrWartburg, MrWartburg. Watch us record these live every week, every other week. Depends on when we feel like having a show. We're going to take a short break, like I said, between now and The Batman. Fusion, of course, will be back for that one, which I'm very excited about. Oh my God, that movie's going to kick so much ass. It's going to be incredible. So stay tuned if you're watching live. We're going to head over and I'm going to play some Uncharted, the game, and maybe do some other stuff. We'll see what happens. If it doesn't cooperate, maybe kick over to Horizon Zero Dawn, the first game, because I kind of want to get back into that game before I think about buying the second one. I don't want to plop any money down until I get this insurance situation sorted, which
I
is
understand.
very fucking annoying.
It's a hell of a tale you've been telling for a
Yeah,
while. Just
it's
trying to
been
get
a
your
whole
shit
thread,
figured
and
out.
I'm very, very much looking forward to having it in the rear view, hopefully sooner than later.
Fucking hope.
And if you are watching live, thanks for sticking around. And we'll see you next time, hopefully, for the next podcast.